In a town where voices are silenced, one woman dares to ask the question no one else will. What if the truth could set them free? It's Jackson, Mississippi. The year is 1963. The summer air is heavy, not just with heat, but with secrets, and an unspoken line dividing the white and black communities. On the surface, life runs like clockwork. White families host bridge games and luncheons, and black maids raise their children, cook their meals, and clean their homes. But beneath the polite smiles lies a world of inequality and fear. This is the story of how a group of courageous women shattered that silence. Eugenia Skeeter Phelan isn't like the other young women in her circle. Fresh out of college, she's full of ideas, not marriage plans. While her friends compare recipes and swap beauty tips, Skeeter dreams of becoming a serious writer. When she returns to her family's cotton plantation home, she's met with an unexpected absence. Constantine, the black maid who raised her, is gone. No goodbye, no explanation. Her mother brushes off her questions, friends avoid the topic. What the emptiness gnaws at her. That unanswered question becomes the quiet spark that will soon ignite something far bigger. In Jackson, unspoken rules run deep. Black maids are the help, nothing more in the eyes of the white families they serve. They are trusted with raising white children, but never invited to sit at the same table. They can enter the homes they clean, but must use a separate bathroom, outside. Hilly Holbrook, one of Skeeter's oldest friends, is the loudest defender of these rules. She wears her charm like armor, always smiling as she pushes her newest campaign, the Home Help Sanitation Initiative. Her idea? Force every white household to build a separate bathroom for their black employees. She calls it health and safety. Everyone else calls it just how things are. Everyone except Skeeter. Skeeter's first real step into the other side of Jackson comes when she meets Abilene Clark. Abilene has raised 17 white children in her life, loving each one as if they were her own. She is quiet, wise, and carries an unshakable sadness from losing her only son. In the kitchen, with the smell of cornbread and fried chicken in the air, Skeeter asks her first tentative question. What's it like working for a white family? Abilene looks at her, the pause heavy in the air. It's not that she doesn't have an answer, it's that giving it could cost her everything.
Skeeter begins to see the pattern. Every maid in Jackson has a story, but none of them can tell it. The fear is too great. She decides she'll be the one to collect those stories, to give them a voice. At first, Abilene refuses. The risk is too high. But tragedy has a way of breaking down walls. When another maid is unfairly fired for speaking up, something shifts. Abilene agrees to meet Skeeter in secret. In the dim light of her small kitchen, with the curtains drawn, Abilene begins to speak. Her voice is steady, but each word carries the weight of years of silence.
If Abilene is the quiet force, Minnie Jackson is the thunderstorm. She's outspoken, sharp-witted, and unafraid to call things as she sees them. Unfortunately, that bravery has cost her more than one job, especially when it comes to her former employer, Hilly Holbrook. Minnie finds unexpected work with Celia Foote, a kind but socially awkward woman who doesn't fit in with Jackson's high society. Celia doesn't just hire Minnie, she treats her as a friend. Slowly, Minnie learns to trust her, and when Skeeter's book project comes up, she decides to share her own story. And yes, this includes the infamous chocolate pie incident, a bold act of revenge against Hilly that will forever be whispered about in Jackson.
Word begins to spread, cautiously. One maid tells another, and then another. Skeeter finds herself sitting in living rooms and kitchens, notebook in hand, listening to stories that have never been spoken outside of hushed conversations. Some stories are heartbreaking. Years of service without a thank you, being fired without cause, being denied even the simplest dignity. Others carry small moments of hope. A child who loved them like family, a rare gesture of kindness from an employer. Each story is a thread, and Skeeter is weaving them into something the world has never seen before.
But Jackson is a small town. Rumors travel faster than the summer wind. People begin to notice Skeeter spending time in the wrong neighborhoods. Hilly grows suspicious. She warns Skeeter to remember her place and pushes her to get on board with her sanitation campaign. Skeeter refuses. Tensions rise as the civil rights movement gains momentum across the country. In Jackson, change is still resisted, but it's coming, whether people want it or not.
Meanwhile, Minnie's personal life grows more complicated. At home, her abusive husband becomes increasingly violent. She finds refuge in her friendship with Celia, who proves herself in an unexpected way by standing by Minnie during one of her darkest moments. It's a rare glimpse of mutual respect across the racial line, and it strengthens Minnie's resolve to speak her truth.
Skeeter finally learns the truth about Constantine. Years ago, at a gathering of Jackson's white elite, Constantine's daughter, light-skinned and educated, was mistaken for someone trying to pass as white. The resulting scandal led Skeeter's mother to fire Constantine to avoid public shame. Not long after, Constantine died. The injustice and loss hit Skeeter like a punch to the chest. The personal becomes political. She will finish the book.
Late nights, endless revisions, and dozens of secret meetings later, the manuscript is done. It contains the voices of over a dozen maids, each one risking her livelihood to tell the truth. Skeeter mails it to a New York publisher under a false name. Then comes the waiting. Weeks pass. Finally, the phone rings. The book will be published.
When the book hits the shelves, Jackson feels the impact instantly. People whisper in grocery stores. Church congregations glance sideways at one another. No names are used, but everyone thinks they can recognize themselves or their neighbors in the pages. And then there's Hilly. The moment she reads the chocolate pie story, she knows. Her fury is cold and calculated. She begins plotting revenge.
In the midst of the chaos, Celia Foote stands up for Minnie in a way no one else ever has. She defends her openly, refusing to be swayed by Jackson's social rules. For Minnie, it's more than loyalty. It's proof that friendship can exist even in a world built on division. Hilly strikes back, using her influence to have Aibileen fired from her job under false accusations. It's a devastating moment. Mae Mobley, the little girl Aibileen cares for, clings to her, crying. Aibileen kneels down, her voice warm but firm. You is kind. You is smart. You is important. She leaves the house not as the help, but as a woman who has reclaimed her dignity. Skeeter is offered a job in New York. She says goodbye to Jackson, knowing she is changed, and that she has changed others. Aibileen walks into an uncertain future, but for the first time, it's her own.
The help isn't just about race or class. It's about the power of telling your story. It's about courage in the face of fear and how voices, once silenced, can shake the walls of injustice. In Jackson, Mississippi, a handful of women proved that even in the most divided times, truth has a way of finding its way to the surface, and once it's out, nothing will ever be the same. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is speak, even when no one wants to listen.